billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Yusabbihu lillahi ma fis samawati wa ma fil ard. Al-Malik al-Quddus al-Aziz al-Hakim. From the well-known tribe of Quraysh, from well-known people like Abdul Muttalib, his grandfather, Abu Talib, his uncle. He knew they knew his tribe and people, Hamza, Abbas, so on and so forth. They are all well-known. So he's among themselves. He's not a stranger. So then they know he's calling them as-Sadiq al-Amin. They know he has been truthful. So he said, if I'm not going to tell a lie about human beings among you, and you know all my life from my childhood until the age, now I'm 40. Now I'm saying I'm the messenger from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The wahi comes to me, the inspiration comes to me, the revelation comes to me, and then you say I'm a liar? What kind of a nonsense is this? So this is from among themselves. So this is another point here. And another thing is that they find so much wisdom and so many things in the Quran. Even, for example, the description of the stages of a human being, of the fetus, are described in the Quran. So now they say, this Aristotle knew about it, but actually Aristotle did not. If you go through Aristotle, you find that not. Even if Aristotle had described some kind of a human fetus or something, it was not as a complete description as it given in the Quran. And secondly, did Prophet know about Aristotle? Was there any library in which he can borrow the book from Aristotle? Did you know Greek? Was he in contact with any scholars of philosophy and so on? So these things which people object to him because they have, if they do not find any teacher that he did not borrow any from anyone, then they will have to recognize that he is a prophet of God. And they don't want to do that. So, and finally, the Jews, the Jews of Medina, when they came when the Prophet ﷺ told them that I'm a prophet, Bani Ismail, and they said they were expecting, in fact, before the Prophet declared his prophethood, they were telling the Aus and Khazraj, the tribes of Medina, look, a prophet will come, and they were expecting a prophet from Banu Israel. The Jews had this concept that they are the chosen people of God. They are God's chosen people, and no prophet will come from outside of Bani Israel. Now, this is their pride or assumption. Where did this come from? Allah did not promise it. Allah promised Abraham. Now, Abraham had two sons, Ismail and Israel. So Bani Israel, they had prophets, but this prophet came from Banu Ismail. So they were jealous. They became jealous, and that's why they did not believe in the Prophet ﷺ. Now, after this is the explanation of Ba'asa fi ummina Rasula, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives the job description of his prophet. Very job description. Just like, you are appointed in a certain position, you go to a company, the CEO gives you a job description, this. Now Allah here is appointing a man, his messenger. So what is his job description? The four things, emphasizing four things. Number one, whatever he received from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, yatlu alayhim ayatihi, whatever verses he received, he has to recite to them. He has to convey to them. He cannot conceal anything. Not a single verse could he conceal. Even if it is criticizing him, like Abasa wa Tawalla. There are two or three places where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is trying to, correct his behavior. Not something great, but something like when Ibn Maktoum came, he was a blind man, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, and the Prophet ﷺ was busy with this great man of Quraysh. He was trying to persuade them to come Islam. So this blind man comes and he wants to ask some questions. The Prophet ﷺ kind of turned away from him, and so Allah is chiding him there, right there. So if the Prophet ﷺ was writing this Quran, he would have omitted those verses. Why these verses? In which Allah is telling him that you turned away from this blind man. So this is the Prophet ﷺ yatlu alayhim ayatihi. That is, he has to convey to his ashab, to whoever there is, in fact, to start with, from his wife to his ward Ali, to Zayd, to Abu Bakr, and so on and so forth. Then eventually to his وَأَنذِرْ عَشِيرَتِكَ الْأَقْرَبِينَ. The first is his own tribe, and then city of Mecca. Then when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded him to go and preach, so then he had to preach them. And finally to the whole world, because he was sent to the whole world. So convey his tilawa. Tilawa means whatever verses were revealed to him, he immediately recited to his companions, and they wrote it down. And you know that the effect of the recitation of the Quran, we know, we have the story of Sayyidina Umar, how he came to Islam by listening to the ayat of the Quran. We know the story of Udba ibn Arabiya. He came to Prophet ﷺ. He told, he was the old man, he was a wise man among them. So they told him, go and argue with him. So he comes to the Prophet ﷺ and he says, Muhammad, if you want, to be a governor, we will choose our king. If you want a beautiful wife, we will find you the most beautiful girl. If you want, by this preaching, why are you doing this? Do you want wealth? We can collect all the wealth which you want and give it to you. Anything you want, we will give it to you, but please stop reviling our gods, and don't keep preaching that all the gods, they are all false gods, and that there is only one God. Stop preaching. Now here I want to point out that a person, if he looks at the other person doing something, so he ascribes to the other person the same thing, same motivation as he motivates him. So Udba ibn Rabi'a, or anybody who is not sincere in messengership, what motivates him? Either to earn money, or to earn status, or to earn power, or for so all these worldly considerations, and it was beyond their understanding that a person is suffering, getting all the tortures, and so on and so forth. What is motivating? Nothing worldly, So he is telling him, Allah telling them, you keep reciting, you keep giving the message, and don't be distracted by anything else. So the first task of the Prophet is not to hide any revelation. If Allah wants to cancel any revelation, He would cancel it. But it is not the Prophet's job. In fact, the Quraysh used to come, bring some of them. No, take away these verses, bring something else. So the Prophet is not my job. I just tell you what is revealed to me. So it is the problem with the earlier revelation. They are mentioned in the Quran about Injil, about Torah, about Zabur. The problem with them is that they are not kept in the original form. First of all, they were in a different language. Like the Injil, which was given to Isa alayhi salam, it was in his language. Allah does not reveal something to a messenger which is not his language. So just like the Quran is in Arabic, pure Arabic tongue, as it says, you see, similarly, Injil was in Aramaic. That was the language of Prophet Isa. Okay. So where is that Injil? They did not keep it. He did not, they did not keep it. Similarly, Torah was in Hebrew. And Zabur, Zabur, that is the Prophet Dawud alayhi salam. Where is the original? So the main thing about the problem of the earlier revelation is that they were not kept intact as it was agreed. And that the Prophet ﷺ was so the first task was number one, Yatlu alayhim ghayatihi. So he recited to them, he told them, and how to write it down when they were writers, he used to also tell them. But the main thing is that his recitation. In fact, some of the Quraysh used to say, don't listen to him. If somebody comes from outside, there is a magician here. You don't listen to him. Put cotton in your ears. Don't listen to him. But because his recitation was so powerful. Similarly, finally, when Sayyidina Umar became Muslim, he was by listening to the Quran. Then Abdullah ibn Masud went to Kaaba and he recited. So some other people recite. So the first task of the Prophet ﷺ to recite what he received. And that should be our task too. So every Muslim should know how to recite the Quran. That's number one. Allahu Akbar, Subhanallah, walhamdulillah, Wallahu Akbar, Subhanallah, walhamdulillah.